Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. In Israel, when you get engaged, you don't stay engaged for a year or year and a half, the way it's very common to do here in the United States. In Israel, you're generally engaged for 2 to 3 months before the wedding. Very quick turnaround time. Now, my husband is Israeli, and his family is Israeli. And shortly before our baby was born, his cousin said, "We're getting married. You should come." Well, we did the math. We began traveling with an 11-week-old baby to Israel. Now, usually in the summer, it's our time to travel. We love traveling. It brings us so much joy to travel all over the world. But with an 11-week-old baby, who schleps an 11-week-old baby on a 10-hour international flight with a layover and then a 4-hour flight? You'd have to be nuts. You'd have to be crazy. You'd have to be us, apparently, because we did it. And it wasn't actually until we were on the Yeshurun, which is like a shared taxi van. It's as comfortable as it sounds. You're shoulder to shoulder with all these strangers. I'm wearing the baby. After 24 hours of traveling through 3 airports and 1 lost stroller, I looked over at my husband and said, "We were nuts to do this." Regret and misery and general seriousness have been the theme of our Shabbats for a while now. The past 3 weeks, in fact. The past 3 weeks we've been spending our Haftarah reading, being yelled at by God via the prophet Isaiah. All these bad things, horrible things are going to happen to you. Bad, serious, literal gloom, literal doom. And it all culminates with this day, Tisha B'Av, where we remember the destruction of the temples, the destruction of Jewish civilization and culture. It's a terrible, horrible event and a very, very sad, sad day. That was last Shabbat, though. This Shabbat is also a special Shabbat. This Shabbat is Shabbat Nachamu, and it's called that because the Haftarah reading that Sabrina did so beautifully starts Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, which means comfort, oh, comfort my people. We read it today on this first Shabbat after that very, very sad, serious day of Tisha B'Av to cheer us up. Literally, Jewish tradition makes us do it because reading this Haftarah makes us happy, because it's all about being happy. It says, it's okay, everybody. I know things are rough, but you should be happy. Look at the world around you. It's a wonderful world. You should be happy. Enjoy. But Jews, our tradition ups the ante, actually, on happiness. You remember I said we had these 3 weeks of seriousness, these 3 weeks of admonition, reading these really serious, scary parts from Isaiah. Well, today, this Shabbat is special, not just because it's Sabrina's bat mitzvah, not just because it's Shabbat Nachamu, but today kicks off the 7 weeks of consolation. And what is consolation but coming back into happiness? Jewish tradition is telling us being sad and being serious, those are important. There's a time to be sad and there's a time to be serious. But happiness and joy is even more important. Now, I'm not a math person because I'm a rabbi, but 7 weeks of joy and consolation and happiness is more than twice of 3 weeks of serious and sad. Judaism is teaching us that joy is doubly important. We dedicate 7 weeks to figuring it out, which also teaches us, I think, that joy and happiness, they take time. It takes time to recognize it in yourself. It takes time to cultivate it, to have the time to do things you enjoy. And this is so important to our tradition that we built it into our religious calendar. Today, this Shabbat is the day to go, hey, happiness is important. Joy is important. I need to wake up. I need to get happy. What makes you happy? What do you do for fun? What do I do for fun? And it's hard to ask myself that question. I will admit, it's hard to ask ourselves the question, what brings me joy? What should I do to make me happy? Because you're busy, right? You got a lot of stuff going on. You have a job. It takes a lot of time. My job takes a lot of time. I love my job. Doing my job actually brings me joy. But it's a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of time. And I know it's hard to think about yourself. You know, like, what makes me happy? What do I like? When you have to take care of other people, right? You have a family. You have relationships that are important. And it feels selfish. But it's not. It's not selfish. I love my husband. I adore my baby. They bring me happiness. but I need to take the time for myself. Cultivating joy, real joy, deep, personal, that joy just reverberates through you. That's hard work. It's hard work like your job is work, like your relationships are work. If it was easy, though, we wouldn't need 7 weeks to figure it out. We wouldn't need Shabbat Nachamu. All this stuff in our lives, it takes up a lot of time, and it's easy for us to forget our own little joys. We tell ourselves it's not important. We backburner it. It's just me. It's just what I like. I can wait. I can wait to do the thing that I like. You can't wait to do the thing that you like. Your happiness is just as important as all the other stuff going on in your life. So ask yourself today, what brings me joy? What makes me happy? And then make time for it. That's the tricky part, making the time. It can be little stuff. I'm very busy. I've got a job. I have a very little baby. I don't have a lot of time. But taking just a couple minutes to sit with a cup of coffee that's still warm and watching an episode of something on Netflix, that's time for me. It brings me joy. It makes me happy. It's a little thing. And invest in yourself the time for the big stuff. You have to invest in your own happiness. You're the only one who can do it. You're the only one who can make your own happiness happen. So take time for the big stuff. And so for us, that meant going to Israel with an 11-week-old baby because we love to travel. Was it crazy to do that? Absolutely. Would I recommend it? But I'm glad we did it because travel makes us so happy. And being in Israel for a family wedding with everyone there, it's an unparalleled joy. I got to dip Davy's little feet in the warm Mediterranean, and I felt like I was giving him a gift. And I was also giving myself a gift. So I'm glad we took the time to remember and prioritize what brought us joy. And even though it was hard and even though we were tired, it was worth it. And I'm just saying, Davy slept the night when we were in Israel, and that was the first and only time he's done that, so just saying. I bless us all that we take the time to rediscover what brings us joy, and that we take the time to turn our dreams of what makes us happy into a very enjoyable reality. Shabbat Shalom.